Hello once again. This is hopefully going to be the last stream of this particular factory that I have been doing for the past 14 weeks, give or take. I think I might have had a week off somewhere in there. Bit late recapping it now, but the first thing I was doing was setting up a very, very train-heavy base with no sort of centralized smelting going on. That part of things worked pretty well, and then I moved on into just showing off the expansion in general, which is what you're seeing here, with the extra goal of trying to do everything with a single ship, which has been going pretty well. I'm pretty proud of how that performed on its first initial flights around, and then also getting to the last planet, Aquillo. On that note, I am on the last planet, Aquillo. I think I took a break earlier than I planned to last week, because I was having some technical issues and some pain issues that are honestly still a thing this week. Hopefully I can just kind of ignore that. But yeah, there should just be setting up the rest of this Factorio and Aquillo, which I'm doing based on a template I had from my last run. Getting a little bit of science out of it, making sure that that's getting processed with everything else. I think Gleba might have stopped again on me. And from there, I need a couple more researches, and then I can build the endgame ship and go win. So let's work on that. Like I said, I was I had this template stamped down from, or blueprint rather, starting here from last time I played this. Seems pretty straightforward for the most part. There are a couple things I just need to place. Nothing too major, honestly. Except for the fact that, right, I'm building on Aquillo, so everything starts as the ammonia sea here. You have to grab this platform made of ice that I'm building over here, I believe. Somewhere. Could be going faster. Just make sure it's actually going. It is not. Why is that not getting ice? I'm making the ice right here. I should be returning the ice into this, I believe. Or no, this should be making ice. Right. I'm not using up the ammonia solution. I shouldn't be milking the ice I just put in there. I should be sending it up this way. Right. Let me just stack that up a bit. Should be fully consuming that. Yeah, apparently I'm not using up enough ammonia. Is not the worst problem to have. I just need to slap down these other consumers of it, and then also that'll help my heat stay regulated. And not put all of that on the nuclear plant. Feel a balancing act sometimes. Okay, so I want to put a cryo plant on that. There's an issue right there. Now can I? Okay, yes. That is now consuming that ammonia, okay. Or at least moving it in here. Most of that is not buildable. I don't want to feel like, you know, just casually drag this all over, but I can't because, I can't make concrete here. That's just nothing you can do. So I need to use what I brought efficiently. Pretty sure I brought plenty, but still. Okay, now that should work. Once it has. Oh, seems like more, okay. Well, a little bit, because pipes do store some. No. I, in fact, cannot. Okay, let's resolve this little pesky issue. Let's put it all in one. Yeah, once I get this balanced out and this is like constantly producing ice platform, I should be pretty good to go. It actually has a recycler to get rid of extra ice. That will be a problem eventually, but right now at the start it is the least of concerns. Okay, there we go. Still not filled in, huh? Yeah, there's one space in there, I got it. Spooky sound on this planet. There was apparently early on development plans to have an actual like hostile creatures, kind of like floating jellyfish or something like that, that would come hassle you here, and they realized like, no, this is just a hard enough challenge just doing anything on this planet. And it really is like. Now I can hopefully put concrete down there. Okay, so now I need a little bit more for that little gap there, don't I? Yep, I do. I'm gonna share your ice better. Very, very slow to get started on this planet. Fortunately, once you're set up, you're set up. Pretty much. Oh, I don't actually need, do I? Oh, no, I do for that a bit. Wait, this is concrete. Okay. Okay. So now that is hooked up. It's all powered. I just need to make sure this is heated. Da-da-da. Once which needs oil coming in. No problem, I have plenty of these. There is oil around. Out here. It's pumping. I'm going to conserve that concrete. So close. Fully heated pipe coming up to here. A little bit more across that water. Well, not water. You know what I mean. I have plenty of ice up in space. Just could throw that in if it really came down to it. I can also just go pipe out that way. It's another little workaround. One more piece of platform. That should do it. Okay. Just give me 2 more pieces of platform. Also gonna be ice, funnily enough. Okay. This is now making solid fuel. This is making rocket fuel. It's going here to provide some heat. That should take a little pressure off of the nuclear setup, which is, I'm pretty sure, doing fine anyway. Yeah. So that much is taken care of. Now I have a massive surplus of both ice and platform. That is nice. I can start working on all this over here. I'm actually short a cryo plant. You need that lithium plate. You need out of here. Okay. Right, so the this does not have the productivity bonus, it just has 8 freaking module slots, right. So, over here, where I can't actually get because this is still a bit wet, I think, in general. Yes, there's the pathing it. I need to fix that. Most of that's going to need this. Once again, regretting not bringing pots to this. Just a little more in the middle. No, it's still got. Okay, that one's down. There for the pipe to bring this in. So a little free stuff. There we go. One more over here. Okay. Not these are places we already have the blueprint down either. Oh, because I had a higher quality one. But okay, yeah. So that's in place. Need more for that. And a way to walk through here. On the upside, the actual ice platform is going to be produced in high enough quantities that I don't have to quite as miserly with it, but concrete I kind of still want to try and be conservative. All the machines down. Cool. So the deal with this is you get the fluorine gas out of the ground. You need to mix in some ammonia and some other stuff, and then this comes out as hot fluoroketone, which you then need to cool off, and then you can make some science out of it, and that will give you back some of the hot. So then you just kind of pour that back in, cycle it around. A little bit finicky, if I'm honest. careful there because I've got a pump I don't want to lose. It'll actually work if I just like fill it in like this. It's weird. I just can't build it at this point. Everything needs to be heated. Probably need to go get more concrete. I'm definitely need more concrete. What is up with my ship? You're pretty good. Do I, by any chance, have some concrete that can just get loaded in here by bots? I do. Okay, okay. So, you know what? Take a little trip, see how it goes. Bad. Hang on. Is that just bad luck or what? That should be like. Oh, I see. Okay, okay. I think I see. Yeah, you got all your ammo belts. You're just going too fast, apparently. Does just some kind of problem that I should have to address in some fashion. Might just be more damage on the just physical guns. I mean, you know what I mean, the projectile damage for the regular bullet guns. It's going just fine now. Will there be signs to pick up over here? Yeah, okay. watch this for a bit. That's missing because I was making the rocket stuff, so that's nice. Move that just a second. Back to making sure this is all structurally supported. So. Need a bit more concrete. How are you doing? You're picking up. You don't really need to go to this whatever because I'm kind of just worried about the science. It's on the way. I'm not gonna say no to that. Okay, yeah, it's launching. Could have grabbed more, maybe should have grabbed more, but no. I mean, I can move from there, but it's fine. While I'm waiting, is this the design I used? No, this is, maybe this is it. I don't know, that looks way too good for what I was actually using. That's the one. Okay. So this design, compared to my current chip, was using a couple of fusion power plants, which I sought to research. Upgraded to foundries for making a bunch of stuff. Only needs the 4 railguns, though. It's a lot more forward firepower than I have. Might need more missiles. We will see. Okay, some of the concrete, that's good. I really need 500, but like, what do I got? Squirreled away. Yeah, I'll take what I got. Power is dipping a little. Let's odd. Ooh. have to deal with that. Well, the important thing is I got some concrete. So you know what? Why don't you just come back here? Again, have to double check that it is not going quite too fast for the last leg. I think I just raided too much of the nuclear fuel to get this ship and base going. Didn't realize that it would cause production to stall out. Fortunately, I don't have an electricity-based defense. It's mostly flamethrowers which take no power, so... I mean, the little power it takes to, like, pump the oil. That's pretty negligible. If you do, like, a primarily laser-based defense and you lose power, then your base is going to die real fast. Here is a little sketchy. It's getting handled. So the final quirk about the way the game is currently set up too is one setting you can, just tweak when you're making a new game is the density of asteroids in space, just as a percentage slider. And it's important they have that way because if I get to the end game, the amount of rocks that appear when you get way deep into space is absurd enough that it can cause major performance issues for a lot of people. So I get that you can turn it down, but also turning it down kind of makes the end trivial because you just basically zero it out and yeah, you have problems getting your ships from place to place because they do need some for fuel, but the end game becomes very, very easy. Okay. Made it out here. Totally fine. Okay. When you get a chance, hand me those. I think, finish building this out at that point. Sure that I have placed what I can place. Yeah, okay. have a lot to talk about at this point, unfortunately. Besides the fact that, like, working out a system to have heat touching everything, including the belts, including the inserters, including all the producers, including all the pipes. Doing this blind from scratch, real head scratcher of a puzzle. Very easy to, like, you know, do what I'm doing here and just work it out once and then have a design that you're good with from there out. Yeah, that first time setup, it's a doozy. Especially when you're also like, okay, do I have enough infrastructure in place that I can, like, not only have this up and running, but, like, you know, leave and get more supplies with a non-frozen launch pad? It's not really a guarantee. I brought more than plenty of concrete, okay. Hydraulic power when I hook it to the grid. Good. So I just need to get this hooked up. Perfect, actually. Yeah, okay. So I can in there. Just do that. Pretty sure. I need to run heat up along here to unthaw this. And then get power up there, and then I'm good. don't remember what I was pulling up through this. Probably... Yeah, it's gonna be the solid fuel need for something over here, right? Yes, okay. I'll be fine. Should probably actually get some heat out here, huh? Don't necessarily what can I call that once. Choke things out if you go too fast with this. Okay, I think I'm good. Grab, get the heat out there. That's also going to need power. So will this, for that matter. A little bit of temperature up here, but and then have this coming in, pump it down to here. Should all turn on. Okay. Just about done. Pretty sure the beacons are optional. Power going out bad. So I'm just not wired up right for these? Okay, yeah. Okay. There's some quality stuff in here I don't actually need. Everything except for your solid fuel. I am making over here. Okay. This specifically like this. Just need to get up to here in some fashion. and use undergrounds, I should, because there's less need for heat that way. And concrete and such. There's no underground heat pipes. That'd be really handy. I guess that's where these come from. Slightly more fissures coming from here. There's all fuel. We are heating and cooling. We are making that science. Ta-da. Anyway, out of power. Because something. Yeah, it's still hot. starters, might as well put this in. Odd. It's warming up. No input fluid, you say? You have water in the pipe. So it's not hot enough. That is going up. This is designed to just run off these for heat. Might need a kickstart. Don't have it all beaconed up, to be fair. Might just dip down when I was building everything out and got too much heat transfer through all these pipes, honestly. So if you look here, something's kind of cool when you're at low power in Factorio is things still move, just very slowly. Okay. Plenty of fuel there. Stop is once again in motion. Or was. Be a heat efficiency issue. Hard to say. If I'm honest, I'm getting a little burnt out playing the save at this point. Do I just need to turn this on when the it's a bit higher? Is that the problem? No, because that has fuel in it. I don't know, am I heating too much stuff? Very strange. Like, again, last time I was playing, I had this working. There was some slight configuration changes, but like off just these two. Just like creating and burning fuel here. And that was enough. You'd think it would be better, especially since there's like stuff metal to this. It's kind of struggling to keep up, but like. Should all be going. Does actually need ice platform or just ice? Just ice. Okay. I might be able to, like, just take these out for now. So as long as I can keep up. Let's the ammonia going steady. Use a burn pretty steady. Okay, this should be fine now. Oh, that's kind of important pipe I missed over here. Yeah, some more markings for efficiency and beacons, but it's going. Did I break more beacons? Not so much. So yeah, in theory, this is a stable build. should be able to just, you know, let that go. Slowly generate some science. Thought that was gonna happen. Speaking of slowly. Let's see. I have to pump the brakes. Maybe now. It's like getting out of this initial huge cluster of rocks that tend to pile up around Aquillo. It's not a great sign that I'm having to do that. By the halfway point here, I seem to be good to go. And again, I can like leave it parked there, which last time I played I could not do. Maybe we should have like a little bit more range on the regular turrets to give them a little bit more forewarning. Is it going to be a big clump? Bit more of a damage boost maybe, or switching to red ammo? I don't know. Slow and steady, this is, you know, doing its thing. I should tweak some things on here. I am no longer making these supply runs. Just am going to need a couple hundred of those. Of those and 100 or so of those. What happened here? That keeps happening in this game. Clean that up on the area. Do need new Gleba design at some point, because the problem is when you're like demanding more science than you're using, this is going to keep happening. Could let that fill up and take a load over. Not in a huge rush. Would kind of like this upgrade. But yeah, to win, what I need to do is just that for 500 and that. It's like 1 or 2 loads I think is actually going to be enough to cover it with how much science production I have. Probably 1. Like, I'd like to get a couple upgrades on that. Would not mind grabbing that as well. Just for a little bit more for comfort. But yeah. Like a legendary card would be nice, so I don't really need it. Foundation, I've kind of built everything already. I don't think I need the extra power from fusion. I kind of hope I don't. So what does that produce? What does that produce? Okay. It's basically 100. And it might be worth the upgrade. I guess I paused. Basically the end game here. Just waiting around for your slow close setup to get you what you need. So what I could do, and might do, is just like double the number of rocket turrets up front here. And you move both to the middle. And then just have ammo loading out to the, I think 4 is plenty for the railguns, for the really, really big rocks. And I don't know, this might be endgame ready. Depends how much juice the railguns take. Okay, I do need the power upgrade. They do take back quite a bit. Just buy the ammo. So, I'm going to have to just get copper and steel going, yeah. That's going to be a bit of redesign. I do want to do that, but just because I want to like sit here, sitting here for so long. Let me load an old save. Okay, so the actual end game here. Once I finally do build up this rocket. Well, first of all, here's the fusion power setup. It's pretty slick looking. You're again messing with the fluorocation temperature thing. main difference is we have these railguns out front because we get the really, really, really big rocks. These have these nice little firing cones. Just popping them down like that. A bit of a long trip out to the edge of the solar system here. This goofy design I got from somebody else also has lasers on it, which like is such a power draw. I can't believe they did that. But just as a way to like, you know, some little tiny side messes. What did I end up here with for went up to 12 for explosives and 11 for physical, so I don't actually need that. That's good to know. This is a bit more of the big ones that I'm currently dealing with going to Aquillo, but like not a lot more. I haven't really been having like problems with the missile output on those. It's been more the small ones, or the medium ones rather. Got like a little more firepower up front in general, but basically I think I'm good just with more the railguns attached. And did I even bother upgrading damage on those here? Or are they just fine as is? Okay, I did. Yeah, I got a couple upgrades for them. But even then, like, not to the point where they're super expensive. So that was like one shot up there that just got like a whole clump of rocks. Railgun's very good. Very, very good. See how far out close. I can't, honestly. Oh, there you go. There you go. There's a couple of them. But yeah, so currently, in my book, very underwhelming end of the game. It's coming up in a couple seconds here. I think. If I loaded the right save. Yeah. That's it. You just get to the edge of the solar system and it just goes, congratulations. You can keep doing stuff if you want to, but that's that. And I mean, like, the launching rocket into space screen, which I think you saw on my first stream of this, like, also kind of underwhelming. Yeah, it was 181 hours in that save. But yeah, yeah, that's at the end. It's just a little tee. There you go. Oh, there is this thing, or this little like map where you get to like put your base in the sky. Which is nice. You can load that if you want to see how that first one ended for me. You just kind of hang out here, and you can keep going towards. Where's the space map? You can, yeah, keep going way out to the shattered planet, which is where all these asteroids are coming from. I think this is on the course to do that. Just keep watching that for a bit. You can't land on it or anything. You can just get to it for just like maximum asteroid density. But yeah, when you get to the shattered planet push, you start seeing these red ones, which are made of promethium. There's something grabbed onto there. There's some on the belt even. And promethium has exactly one purpose. That is making the final science, promethium science, which takes quad processors, which I'm getting set up to make right now. They're also used to build like some of this endgame stuff like the railguns. Actually, is it just those two things? No, it's also used for the fusion power. Okay, right. But yeah, you take those, you take these space rocks, you take some biter eggs, and you make the science pack, and then you can get to the final flavor of science in your base. And I think I mentioned this before, but like the one and only use for that is research productivity, where you get more science per science, but like you've won at that point. So it's a little silly to just, you know, make the number go up when there's nothing to spend the number on really anymore. Except for, I guess, upgrading your damage so you can get out to these trips to get more promethium faster or more efficiently. Go farther in. There's the optional goal, getting all the way out to the shattered planet. But first of all, it takes a while. Look at my little progress here. It is not, you know... This might be stopping. I think they got some like weird automation on this to turn it around with hazard my promethium. You can also make that science in space here. Just gotta, like, you know, get some rocks, get some of these, and get the eggs. You can send the eggs off into space if you're inclined. Just to make it a little bit spicier getting the stuff done, but like you still need to bring it back. You still need to bring it back to your labs to actually do something with it. Unless you brought all your labs with you, which I don't know, that could be an interesting challenge. Is just like having this massive arc ship that just, like, you know, goes up this way as far as it can, just making everything. But you need some stuff from the other planet, so you know you would eventually run out and have to go back anyway. It's not like the most satisfying end game, honestly, at this current juncture. Hopefully they, you know, think about it and patch something that's a little bit spicier or more visually interesting. But you know, it's about the journey. I'm just curious how far this gets. Don't turn it around. The absurd asteroid density get out here. Still not too bad. But like, look, I've gotten like 1% towards the shattered planet at this point, which, like, I'm not really going like full tilt either, but still. It's a huge distance if you want to do it, and like, the closer you get, the higher the rock density gets, and it's already getting a bit absurd. If you look at like screens who've, like, you know, done the Shattered Planet challenge, like, there is just no black left on the screen. It is just asteroids absolutely everywhere. And again, some people, possibly including me, have performance issues even going for it. I could recreate this exact design pretty easily from where I am right now. It's all pretty cheap. I need a few foundries. There's a cryo plant on here for the explosives. But yeah, the fusion reactors, which I do need to actually bother to make, are kind of an expensive build. And they look really neat when they're going. They also just kind of barf out and suck in the ketone through here. It's like that goes. Yeah, fuel cells go in. It spits out this hot plasma. The hot plasma then gives you a bunch of power and also a bit of the hot flux can come back, which you then have to cool back off and pump back in. But it's a pretty closed system. And very fuel efficient, so it's great. Literally end of the game power source when you get it. The personal version you can put in your suit is just yes, everything is powered now. No fuel expenditure or anything like that. Just no, you're good. But yeah, this is the end of Factorio, the expansion. Just going way out into space and getting your red rocks. Probably putting on long belts because they stack one to a slot in inventories. It's just way more space efficient to do it this way. And some people get crazy with the whole belt weaving thing of yellow underground next to red underground next to blue, so that you have 3 belts in the same space to really cram it in there. But this is it. That's what the end of the game looks like. I should go back and do this legitimately once I'm done showing off here and seeing how far this shit will go. But I'm gonna level with you. All I need to do at this point is just wait around a while for my slow Aquillo research, and then building up these things, which are kind of. Let's see, what do these take? Yeah, it's gonna be waiting on the quantum processors. This is just importing. What do I need for the power situation here? Oh, starting to hit stuff. That's the exciting part. Hang on. Yeah, the huge ones don't really stop. They just. Okay, well, I actually did stop eventually, but no. Well, one of them did. The other went straight on through. Yeah, what do these take? Yeah, 250 quantum processors. 50 here, and the quantum processors themselves, of course, require this stuff, which includes. Let's get a good look at the giant rocks at least. But yeah, this is not a go to the Shattered Planet worthy ship, but it's just a win the game ship. A lot of detail on these if you actually look up close. back to our real game, I guess. But yeah, at the very end of the game is just kind of a lot of waiting around for a few things to finish, and spinning plates, putting out fires if your other plants aren't designed well, which, you know, I've done a pretty good job of that, I think. I could check and see how they're all doing. I need to fix this power situation here, obviously. Vulcanus is always just fine. Like, doesn't need much at all to get going. But very, very easy planet to work with. You have very little to do. Sometimes you want to check on your coal mines, see if those are fine. Oh, it's backed up. Interesting. It's also backed up. Or because I haven't been here to like pick up stuff in forever, right? So it's all backed up. Fulgora. It's honestly a very like interesting design challenge. I'm still struggling with it a little bit. I'm sure this is backed up somewhere right now. Yep. Gleba, like you find something that works, and then once it works in general. I mean, this one I've had to like come clear out the trash a few times just because I haven't been coming through here, and like this science with this design has to be constantly exporting or else it'll back up. Which was fine in my previous run. I had a ship dedicated to making that particular delivery route at all times. Here I just have the one ship thing going, and I've been parking it in places for very long stretches of time, so that backs up, so that's on me. I would like to redesign this at some point, just on principle, because this is me copying somebody else's, just because like I didn't want to deal with it. I did it legit the first time, but I wasn't happy with that neither. Basically, just some like more efficient stuff for getting, you know, if you want just some of the carbon fiber or the really good inserters off here instead of just the science, or you know, you want some bioflux to get your like biolabs going, things like that. Oh, this is loading up finally. Again, it's like a really, really difficult problem to solve at first, and then once you solve it, it's done. It'll just go forever. There's no setting up new mines. There's hopefully no stuff backing up on you if you design it properly, and it's all getting tossed into the heating towers if you don't need it. There is sometimes the issue of, you know, getting attacked, but that has not happened this game at all. It's kind of nice. And Aquillo, like, again, the first time you do this is a really, really tough design challenge. And then it's still a little nerve-wracking setting up because you have to, like, get enough stuff here to get off at least once to go get more stuff, generally speaking. But then, you know, it just kind of sits here as a thing. Very slowly getting that science. I need to come back here with the beacons and modules to get it, you know, running faster. You largely want to set up, you know, fusion power on here too, just to not deal with all this. But this works. You can have nuclear power plant here. This right here works if you have the right, you know, ratio of beacons and modules in here to keep it going constantly. And again, you have like oil, lithium, fluorine to find and put into the system, but that's kind of it. It does its thing. Very slow and relaxed, but it does its thing. Okay. Kiroshi's obtained, heading out. So at this point, you know, like, I would like to actually get to the end with this ship, but, you know, it's going to be a bit to, you know, get to the parts I need to start redesigning it. I've done all the interesting stuff at this point, if I'm honest. So I might just like get bored and stop this run at some point. You've seen the ending, for what it is. You've seen all the important stuff to get there. Just, you know, I need to build a couple more parts and then add them to the ship in the front. That's kind of it. I also need to like run up here and fix this fuel situation though. This is kind of a problem. Hooray for the old like coal and steam setup, picking up the slack while I was out, but like yeah, let's see. Problem solved. Problem on its way to being solved. It's still kind of running sluggish, but you know, it's running. I have any fuel stashed around to alleviate that more immediately. Yeah, we're basically at the end of the run here. Again, like, there's the formality of actually going to the edge, but, you know, I don't wanna. So I'm thinking now about, yeah, it's got one here. What to do next. I might take a break for a week or two, honestly, because, like, I do love this game, but, like, it can be a lot sometimes, especially when playing the expansion. By the end, it's just, like, really just so much stuff to keep track of that it just becomes draining. And with the base game or the expansion, like, actually getting across the finish line, there's this real hump to it that, like, I don't know, I feel like I want some kind of simpler goal to work towards. Okay, so you bring that over there. You missed one. But there's power back on properly. That shouldn't happen again, especially with that big of a stack in there. Why isn't this going? Oh. Oh, because the output was blocked, okay. There's like plenty in there, just easy in a timely fashion. Let's see. Getting those stronger explosives. That's gonna take forever. I need to bring more stuff over there. Yeah, I just don't want to work on this anymore. We'll save this again. But like I said, I might take like some time off and just do something else my Fridays for a little bit. I have been getting somewhere a little kind of with my console design thing, so that's something I want to like check back in on at some point in there. But yeah, when I next come back to this, I'm going to do a little poll. So I've got a couple ideas what to do as a run. There's some interesting mods I'd like to show off at some point. Most of them tend to make things take longer, though, and this is already like, this is a long one. So I might want to, yeah, there's one again, I think I mentioned it called Ultra Cube, which is just like a different enough experience that it might be interesting. I do want to do a weird run where I just play the entire thing at this level of zoom. I just try to manage with that. Have some other little like goofy challenges on the side. I technically still don't have every achievement in this game. Let's see, the ones I'm actually missing. Well, that one I've basically done. I just don't want to sit there and actually fill up the armor slots. Win with 100 hours. I could do that. I could easily do that. I just, yeah. Do that right now tonight. Then there's the 40-hour one. That's like the real speedrun achievement. I could do that sometime. I wouldn't want to do that like live. I'd want to try to like pre-record it, just because I feel like I couldn't play that fast while talking. But that's a thing, and I could just upload that after the fact. And then there's this one where like the first base you clear out using artillery. I don't think I've shown you artillery. With the expansion here, which is where that achievement comes from, you need to. Oh, what is going on over here? I see. You need to go to Volcanus first. So the real challenge is like get to Volcanus without taking out a single nest. I could combine that with the one where I'm all zoomed in here. Just I don't want to go out fighting. I'll just be here in my little zoomed in space. Put down the giant cannon and have it fire things that are way the hell away. That could maybe be the victory condition if I do that one. Well, I want to also like look at the other buildings up close. Yeah, see? So I don't know. It's also just like do that at the end. Maybe have some other restrictions. Do the old lazy bastard achievement where you never build anything, where you build like the bare minimum of things in your inventory and always have assemblers and robots do everything for you. There's a bunch of newer mods people have done that I'd kind of like to check out, like some that add like 50 more planets, which again is cool, but like I don't want to be here and just record like 100 streams of this, so I don't know. Worth thinking about. But yeah, for now I'm just kind of spacing out, getting tired, getting distracted. It was just Christmas and New Year's. I am still kind of tired from that. I'm going to call the run done because like again I just have to just go deeper into space and then just have a pop-up show up. That's not really a thing. Have I tried just doing that, actually? I saved it recently-ish. Hey you. Do I have to research something for that, actually? do. Okay, I have to actually research this last science pack, and then I can set that as the goal. And that does require me to make the fusion power setup. Okay. And yeah, I still want to stay here that long. Because, like, there's nothing new to see. It's just waiting for the research to finish. And then putting down, like, a building to make quantum processors. It's kind of handcrafting a couple of these, and yeah, that's it. I think I'm gonna call this done. I think I'm just like end this early tonight because I'm just just kind of sleepy. But yeah, just I feel like the train network worked out pretty well. Just hop on one of these at random, ride it along, watch the traffic. Perhaps have a look at some of the like big science blocks that I built. Oh, that one doesn't have radar coverage. Never mind. And this is also not moving because it's like fully loaded, isn't it? Yes. Never mind that too. But no, this setup here to prioritize where they take the stuff works out pretty nicely, I think. My grand initial experiment for this run of setting up metal individual science chunks like this one down here. One of the builds I'm more proud of, I think. Just, big stack of furnaces by the train stop, because that's kind of unavoidable. And then just, yeah, fairly nice and compact. Just, make all the circuits down here. Make all the parts here. Kept it a nice little square. I'm saying more proud of the purple one where I could have... No, the purple one sucked. Never mind. We're gonna like a horrible little corner of stuff. Then was it the yellow one? Yeah. This is my crown jewel for this run, I think. This part in particular, I'm kind of proud of. Just like how janky and spaghetti-tastic it got to be in this one corner, just to keep it in a nice square profile. This sketchy going under the battery production to get the stuff in there for the acid. And like the overall shape is again pleasing to my eye. But yeah, so that was this run. I think I hopefully showed off a lot. Like the early game, I accomplished something I think I might have to do like a separate run for, of showing like if you start off way in the desert and there's just no trees to block that initial pollution, you get attacked a lot. The first couple streams of this run, like that was a real nail biter for people like lived through it. Just like from the constant like from the word go attacks, just like building in this. So again, like biggest piece of Factorio advice I can give you really is don't build in this. Find some place where there are trees. Get a nice foresty map, and that will make the game so much easier for you because it buys you so much time before like things get serious. So I turned off the heavy combat. I didn't really show off like how scary the monsters get on Gleba, because like even going there as the first planet, it never really heated up on me here. I'm proud of these ship designs. I do need to do the final one. I just, I don't want to do the grind to get there. It would be faster if I actually, like, was actually building those modules and beacons and shipping them out there instead of just yammering. But you know, it's a thing, and I think it wouldn't be that much of a modification to that design. I will do it eventually at some point. This is a good number of labs. It's not like the fastest science production. I'm clearly making more than I'm using. I could have more here, but you know. Even just the 10, like the biolabs really do their job, especially production modules in them. And again, like both forms of the ship, like it's a nice compact little design. It's not very expensive. It goes faster than I'd like it to, honestly. And it can handle just going to Aquillo and parking there, which a lot of people finish the game ships that can't do that. Meow. Yeah. So you know what? Let me just fix the button. So yeah, I think that's that for now. Again, weird kind of anticlimactic way to end up, but like the end of this game is anticlimactic. What can I say? And I think that did, like, you know, show off how the expansion goes. There's a lot to the expansion. There's an awful lot to the expansion. I've seen people who will, like, play one game with just the base game and then, like, hop into it. It's like, no. You really want to get, like, very familiar with how Factorio works before trying out Space Age. Maybe try some other mods we've done for, like, some alternatives to how things go. But, yeah. I'm just kind of rambling. Oh, here's some artillery, by the way. They fire, like, vastly across the map. Just, you know, like, roughly, like, half the distance size of my main Nauvis base is, like, their firing range. So I could practically put some in the middle of that and just cover the whole thing. The ammo's a little bit expensive, but yeah, they will just, like, spot nests just miles away and take them out for you. But yeah, I love this game quite a lot. It's very nice, but, like, when I get to the end of a Space Age run, I am just so burnt out. And again, like, a lot of people figure it's like, oh, so you just, like, do all these new planets, like, sequentially? And it's like, no. You're doing them all at once. And some of that isn't too bad. Like, again, going to Vulcanus, like, you have a fun puzzle to solve there. It doesn't take that long. Remember, there's a wiki built into the game now. You get a nice simple build. It's very, very handy. You can do any, like, large scale production there, and it's great. Fulgora, like, again, way more of a puzzle to solve. If you don't want it to be jamming up constantly. Unless, I guess, you just, like, ignore quality. Then it's probably fine. You're just throwing a bunch of stuff away. Yeah, it looks like my base. Gleba, I think I complained about this before. Like, it's a really interesting puzzle working out how it works, but, like, if you don't have a fully functioning base, everything just stops and everything rots, and you have to just, like, do this horrible manual kickstart to get it going again. Aquillo kind of has the same problem, but, you know, you're forced to save that one for last, so you have more time to think about it. You've hopefully got everything locked down on the other planets to a point where you don't have to really check on them constantly. Yeah, like, a big part of the challenge of the expansion is just, like, getting Nauvis to a state where you can leave it alone for hours at a time. And again, my advice for how to do that is just set up the wall of flamethrowers, some laser turrets here and there to back them up, and it's a good example, actually. A solid wall in front of that, and then just make sure you have the ring of roboports to keep, you know, repair packs coming into them. And then you can just leave it alone forever, honestly. And I have done runs of this. My first run finishing the expansion where I didn't even really bother. I had like a few clusters of turrets at some problem spots, and then just like, you know, I will get back here before this gets overwhelmed. I promise. I did have the flamethrower wall because like I always had the flamethrower wall. Flamethrower walls are just so good, but like I didn't have any sort of automatic repairs, automatic refueling of guns, any lasers. It was just flamethrowers and some hand-fed gun turrets, and that can work. I wouldn't recommend it, but it can work. But still, you are just juggling so many plates by the end of this expansion. It's really a lot to deal with. But I do still like enjoy it a lot. The new buildings that have the like extremely good production bonuses just innate to them, and all the module slots are really interesting. The quality mechanic is a cool thing to play around with. I should also actually... Did I show off the fun toys in my end of that run? That I did not bother making this time. Because one of them is, of course, the Power Armor Mark II, which you can see here in purple. This is me being halfway through the challenge of making the... Look at the absurd size of the inventory. The legendary version of it, which I've done, and then I have to fill that up with legendary stuff. And there's just so many slots, and it's just like, well, this is just such a pain of a chore to make just whatever of legendary quality and just fill this all in. You know, this runs around. It's got all that space and storage. It's got huge defense bonuses. It just kind of ignores cliffs and hops right over them. If you have a big chunk of buildings, you can just like fly over it, and that's really handy. You can go right over the water too, for that matter. You are just like unrestrained, movement-wise. Which is really handy if you can like get one early on, but you have to go to Fulgora, and then you have to just like make so many modules for the base stuff in this, and so many like Homium plates. Do I have a train to demonstrate the other fun thing? I do. I was barely using trains on this run. I'm on this one looping track. I just play chicken with them. This is a fun toy, but like again, it's... Oh no. Yeah, you just automatically jump over them when they come by. This is a fun toy to play with. It's very, very expensive. It's pretty late into the game that you can get it, and you know, I don't find it so useful that if I wasn't doing this challenge run, I'd bother with it. But it's a pretty cool idea. And somewhere around here I parked my other thing that has the same, you know, just ignore the Z-axis issue toy. Somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. This you can get if you just play around on Gleba for a while. The Spidertron, which, you know, has that name for a reason. Wonderful animations on this, where like the legs will slide around on your belts and stuff like that. This will again just like climb right over anything. So you just gotta like ignore all terrain. It comes equipped with a like 4-pack of rocket launchers, and will fire those automatically by itself. So like massive, you know, weapon of doom. You can build several. You can make little remotes and just, you know, sit there and what? Not sure we need to do that in the expansion anymore, because that was like back before they did the whole control vehicles from space thing. You know, you can command a whole fleet of them and just Send them out on patrols. They've got a huge internal inventory that, meow. Yeah, so it's a huge internal inventory. You can put logistic robots in here. You can put construction robots in here. You can just load them with supplies. Send these out to just like automatically build all your stuff for you from a distance. Because like so much stuff. So they're really handy too. But again, like you get them late enough that you know it's just kind of victory lap at that point. You can also get these in the base game. It's not expansion exclusive. They're good there too. Walking these over water is kind of interesting too, since they can't like do the whole jetpack flight over the whole thing, but they can cut over corners pretty easily. Ammo? Yeah, ammo's done here. Kind of like, you know, stealthy and creepy when they're like on the edge like that. And then if there's just a small gap like on this corner here, they'll just kind of go whoop right across. That's fun. Oh, hello. Forgot I had some pets down here. Anyway, yeah, that's the expansion for Factorio. There's a lot in it. There's an awful lot in it. I hopefully explained how most of it works. I should make some like blueprints of some of the stuff available from this run because I think it all worked out pretty well, honestly. I should also see what my cat wants. But yeah, that is that. I'm going to call it early. Because I am sick of this save file. Meow.